What if I told you that this beautiful Android app started as a messy Jupyter Notebook buried somewhere on my system? This app is so useful and well designed that you would never guess it is based on a barely usable dataset from Kaggle. So today, I will show you that building a project this ambitious with limited resources doesn't have to be overwhelming. We just need a good divide and conquer strategy. Now, normally, a project like this would mean wiring a front-end, back-end, dataset, and a mobile app separately, which is a lot of moving parts, even for experienced developers. So instead, we will use Emergent, an AI-powered development platform that lets us handle all of that in one place, focusing on the actual product instead of the setup. I will show you exactly how to turn this notebook into a real Android app, but we won't just focus on building it. We will also learn how to approach large projects by breaking them down into small, manageable stages so that you can apply the same workflow to any software you build. And the best part is, you don't need to be a developer to follow along. I will walk you through beginner-friendly GitHub usage and the exact steps for generating an Android APK file, even if you have no idea what any of it means. By the end of this video, you will have the confidence to pursue your own complex projects in a real mobile app installed on your phone, ready for anyone to use, even your grandma. So if you're ready, let's roll! So how do you build something this complex without getting overwhelmed? Most people start these projects, but they never finish them. Not because they didn't have a plan, but because they got stuck while executing it. And in this video, I will show you how to avoid that. So first, let's understand the full scope of the app. As I mentioned, this is not a simple recipes app. Yes, it stores recipes across 5 main categories with filters for things like cooking methods, dish type, nutrition, and more. But the real value is in the shopping cart, where recipes turn into proper ingredients checklists. So if one recipe needs 250 grams of flour and another one needs 500, the cart automatically combines them into 750 grams of flour. The goal is to walk into the supermarket fully prepared, not just with the right ingredients, but also with the right quantities. But that's not all. Carts can be saved and loaded together with all the recipes that created them. We can save our favorite recipes, we can switch the app into dark mode, and we can package the whole thing as a real Android app that lives on your phone. So what we're really building here is a full meal planning and shopping system. And that's exactly why you cannot build it all at once. If you throw a project like this at AI in one giant prompt, it will break. So the real purpose of this tutorial is to show you a proper divide and conquer strategy that you can reuse in your own projects. So let's jump on the computer and let's start building our app. The first thing we need is a wireframe. Think of it as a rough blueprint of the app, a black and white skeleton that maps the pages, menus, and flow before we even build anything. I used Adobe Illustrator for this one, but you can always use Paint, Inkscape, or you can even sketch it on a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be fancy. Now, we start with a home page, sketching the logo area, the menu, and all the main categories. And then we start asking what happens when the user clicks on something. For example, selecting the quick category. Well, that becomes our next screen. And once we sketch it, we then repeat the same thought process for every button, every menu, and every interaction until the entire app flow is mapped and labeled. Okay, but here's the important part. You do not throw this entire wireframe at AI all at once. Just like the app itself, we divide and conquer. We break the wireframe into smaller sections, each focused on a few components or screens. This makes it easier for AI to build everything correctly and much easier for us to explain the workflow. Okay, stop it. And speaking of AI, let's navigate to Emergent by clicking the link in the description. If you do so, Emergent will know you came from this video because this is my special link. Then we'll go ahead and sign up, or in my case, sign in. And if this is your first time, you will get a free trial for a month. Now, the first thing we do here is connect our GitHub account. This is extremely important because GitHub keeps track of everything that the agent builds through version control. If something breaks later, we can always roll the project back to a working version. Think of GitHub as your save a copy button, where every version is tracked and you can then pull the code, make changes, and then push it back. And since everything that Emergent builds is yours, you can then take the code and use it however you want. Next, we choose our agent. In my case, I'm going with the full stack agent, even though the mobile one would work as well. Both of them can handle the project, they're just optimized differently, okay? Now, as we attach the first wireframe step, let's go over what we need to build at this stage. Right now, we only care about the front-end skeleton. The most complex instruction we give the agent at this point is simply when the user clicks on this button, then open this screen. We are working with placeholders and not real data. We are slowly building the layout so it visually matches the wireframe. To make sure my instructions are clear, I made a draft of the project goals and of the main features. And then I used a chat model like ChatGPT to refine my words before sending them to Emergent. This will save you credits and will give you much better results than just freestyling your prompts. You basically use the chat model to help you think and the coding agent to help you build. You don't want to mix the two, but use them in parallel throughout the project. Now, once the prompt is processed, we get a preview window where we can immediately start testing the app. And this is where the first iteration begins. So for example, the menu, it now opens from the side instead of dropping from the top like it normally does on smartphones. So instead of moving forward, we fix that first. We clarify the issue, we send a correction prompt, and only then we go ahead and refresh the preview and of course confirm that the problem was solved, which gives us iteration 2. Then we repeat the exact same process for every wireframe section until the entire UI skeleton is complete. In my case, I had 5 of them. In your case, use as many sections as needed. Now, once the front-end structure is in place, it will save everything to GitHub. We will click on the GitHub Save button in the prompt area, and you can of course create a new repository, but in my case, I will use an existing one where I already saved the data and the wireframes. I will pop it on the screen. You can use it as reference. Now, on my end, back in Emergent, I will select the Full Spoon mobile app from the menu, and I strongly recommend saving this work into a separate branch so that your own work and the work generated by AI, they stay isolated. I will call this branch Emergent, and I will save it to GitHub. And perfect. Now, when we go ahead and open our repository in the browser, we can see that our project now has a new branch and we are ready to move on with the backend. Now, our backend starts from a data science project, cleaning and analyzing the food.com dataset from Kaggle. And our goal here is to take this messy public dataset and turn it into something custom and high quality so we can actually build an app around it. But this is not a good dataset to work with because it has a major issue. Whoever curated it totally missed the ingredients measurement, okay? So instead of storing 2 cups of flour, it only stores values like 2 of flour. You don't know if it's cups, if it's tablespoons, if it's grams, or what on earth it's supposed to be. And this basically breaks our shopping cart logic because the quantities are everything. Now, the cherry on top is that I discovered this issue deep into the project when I had too much skin in the game to start all over again, searching for a different data set. So I decided to curate all these missing measurements and map them back to the rest of the data set. I happen to have a special set of skills for that, but most people would probably just give up. So this is actually one of the most important lessons in the entire workflow. Make sure your data is 100% usable before you start building something. Don't just assume that everything is there just because you trust the source. Now, once the dataset is cleaned and it is structured properly, we then convert it into a JSON file because that's the format that Emergent expects for the backend flow. And then this JSON file will then become the data source that powers our app. Now, just like the huge wireframe, we need to divide and conquer the dataset. We start slowly by attaching the JSON file from earlier and getting the agent to read it and only working with the obvious recipes first. At this stage, we only care about the backend of two screens, the individual recipes page and the quick category page. As far as Emergent is concerned, everything else stays a placeholder. Now, once these two work properly, we apply the exact same logic on the rest of the categories: vegetarian, dairy-free, and so on. Then we move on with storing the favorites. After that, the cart recipes, and only then we tackle more complex logic like the cart itself. Again, the rule is the same. We are building only a few features at a time, mapping actual data instead of the placeholders that we've had so far. So once the cart works properly, we then move on with saving and loading carts. And then finally, we tackle the most complex part, which is the filtering logic. This one I built in two stages. First, I sorted all these filters into categories like nutrition, cooking time, cooking method, dish type, and I also displayed them as expendable sections on the page. At this stage, I kept them as placeholders. I only cared about getting the structure and the placement right. Then, in the second stage, I connected all those filters into the actual recipes, and I stacked them one on top of the other, completing the backend logic of the app. So now that we've brought the original plan to life, we can finally start tweaking it. On my end, I decided to add a dark mode button that changes the styling of the app back and forth. And this is probably the best proof that vague, natural language prompts can get very expensive very quickly. I completely freestyled this section and it took a whole bunch of prompts and corrections just to get it right. I really thought this would be straightforward, but apparently I was wrong. So just ChatGPT the whole thing. Now, once the app is complete, everything works, and you've verified it in the preview, we can then finally package it into an Android APK file. So we'll tell Emergent to harden the architecture and prepare the app for a standalone mobile use. It must be completely independent from Emergent and fully functional on a phone interface. Then it will ask you how you want that done, and you will choose a full capacitor setup. Once that is complete, you can then follow along with the next steps. Now, a very important note. Emergent will refer you to some instruction files, but please do not follow them. These are meant for commercial applications and not for personal educational projects. So just ignore it and follow my instructions instead. So once the capacitor setup is complete and Emergent tells us that we're good to go, we will go ahead and save the code on GitHub once again. Then we will open our repository in the browser. We will navigate to the Emergent branch and we will click on Compare and Pull Request. We see that we are ready to merge and there are no conflicts, so we will go ahead and click on Make a Pull Request. And we will then merge it with the rest of the code, replacing my original code with the lovely code that Emergent wrote. And now that our complete app is available on the main branch, we will then copy the SSH address of our repository. If you need help with setting it up, check out the pinned comment. And then we will go ahead and open a WSL terminal on our system. If you don't have one, follow this tutorial of mine. It's really, really good. And we will then go ahead and type git clone followed by the URL we just copied. We will then type our SSH password and we will navigate to our project folder with cd full spoon mobile app, where our application lives. Now, our goal is to make sure that it runs on our system and it is truly independent of Emergent. For this, we will navigate to the Frontend folder with cd Frontend. And if you already have Node.js installed, just type npm install. If you don't have it installed, you can go ahead and copy the following command from the description, then restart your terminal, And in a new one, just type nvm install --lts. And if everything was properly installed, if you type node-v, you will get the version of your brand new Node.js. Then we will navigate to our frontend folder once again with cd full spoon mobile app / frontend. We will do an npm install once again, and we will run our app with npm start. This should open a browser window with our beautiful app running inside it, and perfect. Everything works on our system too, which means that we are ready for Android packaging. Next, we will package our app for Android. For this, we will download Android Studio from developerandroid.com, and we will do so for Windows, even though we are using WSL. And we will also need Java installed. So back in WSL, let's collapse our application with Ctrl+C, and let's check if we already have Java installed with java-version. And okay, I do have Java installed, but this is a very old version. So let's just quickly install a new one. For this, we will first update our package manager with sudo apt update. And we will then sudo apt install openjdk, as in Java Development Kit -17-jdk. Bam. Now, one last detail before compiling the app is adding a unique icon that we will display on our phone. For this, we will need a 1024 pixel square PNG image. We will create a new folder for it inside the frontend directory, and we will call it assets. We will then paste our image inside it. Then back in WSL, we will type the following: npm install --save dev at Capacitor /assets. Then we will generate all the Android icon sizes with npx this time at Capacitor /assets generate. And now we can finally move on with the build. So let's quickly double check that we are in the frontend folder. Why? Because this is where the package JSON file lives, and it defines the build mobile and the Android build commands that we are about to type. Okay, so back in WSL, let's go ahead and npm run build mobile. And then npm run Android build. Now, if you're getting errors at this stage, check out the pinned comment for some comment fixes, or just reply with the error and tag me so I can try to help you. Otherwise, after 7 minutes and 44 seconds, your APK file will be officially built. Then, in our file system, we will navigate to Fullspoon mobile app, front end, Android, app, build, outputs, APK, and then boom! Here's our packaged APK, Android application, aka app debug APK. So now we go ahead and connect our phone to the computer with a cable, and then we will go ahead and copy our APK file, and we will paste it, let's say, in the downloads folder of our phone. And then back on our phone, we will navigate to this downloads folder, and we will click on our lovely app. We'll, of course, install it. And okay, your phone may try to give it a quick security check. Let's do it. Let's make sure it's not a virus. And then once the app is installed, we will go ahead and open it. And there you go. Here's our lovely application. We can go ahead and browse some recipes. We can add them to our favorites. We can save them to the cart. We can double check that the cart logic works. And we can, of course, change to dark mode. Everything works as expected. Amazing. Now, I highly encourage you to visit my GitHub repository for this project, clone it, learn from it, get inspired, and even continue developing it on your end. And most importantly, if you come up with something really cool, don't forget to share it with me. If you want to try it yourself, click on the Emergent link in the description right now. Start with a small project, experiment with the workflow, and see how far you can push it. And thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please share it with the world. And don't forget to leave it a huge thumbs up and all kinds of comments. Now, if you'd like to see more videos of this kind, you can always subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell. I'll see you soon in an awesome tutorial. So in the meantime, bye-bye.